Happy Miracle Monday. This is Dawn Petalino, your transformational coach, and Miracle Monday is where I remind you of the truths and the tools to get you back to your center, to get you back to your true self. And I reference a lot of things from the Course in Miracles and the Course of Love, two books that I adore, and I really try to incorporate in my life and pass these on to you. So today I want to talk about responsibility. I know for myself, a lot of my clients that I work with are women who, have grown up maybe a little too soon, where they had to take on responsibilities when they were younger that were too much for them, that it wasn't right for them to take it on, and as a child it was too much, but they did take it on, and it helped them to survive, which is not a bad thing. However, what it does is that kind of experience can create a sense of over-responsibility. And when you're an over-responsible person, what happens is we end up neglecting our own needs. We end up telling ourselves, okay, well, I'm strong enough to do this. I'm strong enough to handle it and to sacrifice my own needs if it'll make another person happy. And that mentality is based on an experience, and we carry it with us. And so we're having that mentality of feeling responsible for another person, feeling responsible for certain situations, taking on more responsibility than we can handle. What we're really doing is we continue to practice the neglect that we were experiencing in those younger years. So what we're doing is we end up neglecting our own needs for another person. We end up sacrificing ourselves and violating ourselves again and again and again, repeating that same pattern. So what responsibility really is, and this is an interesting way of, the Course of Love says, responsibility is a sense of guardianship that is unnecessary. It is a demanded response, an obligation. And it says, this is not your job, basically. It says responsibility is not what's called for. What is called for is a response versus responsibility. Now, what that means is, in order to have a response, it is to not judge the situation, to not assume certain things, to not assume your role as the responsible one, and to step in and take charge, and then feel resentful later, right? Because we say, well, I'm doing this because I care about them. But doing something to please another person isn't caring about somebody. When we step in and we do it for somebody, what we're really saying is you can't do it yourself. And that's not really love. And the Course of Love says love is a response. A response comes from within, and it is always genuine. And so when we respond to the situation without judging it, we wait for what feels loving, which may or may not be the action we were going to do. But we can ask ourselves in those moments, wait a minute, is the choice I am about to make right now, is that standing in my power, and is it a loving response, loving to myself? Or am I trying to please another person? Because ultimately, if we really care about the relationship and we say, well, I really care about this person, but if we really loved them and we cared about them, we wouldn't want to harm the relationship. And yet, every time we cross over our own needs or ignore our own needs in order to please somebody else, we end up building up that resentment inside. Remember that? Were you feeling that resentment? And that resentment actually ends up harming the relationship. So if we really care about the relationship and we really love this person, then we wouldn't want to harm the relationship, which means we would take into account our needs. So I just had this experience with my boyfriend where, we were talking about cleaning, and he says, well, I'm going to help with this cleaning. And my head was like, oh, no. I thought, he's going to help. It's going to fall on me. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to take over everything. And I was feeling resentful. Now, mind you, nothing has happened yet. This is all in my head. So I'm starting to feel resentful about this responsibility that's going to fall on my shoulders. And then I said, oh, wait a minute. You are going down an old idea of feeling unsupported, which is where that over responsibility comes. You've got to step up because nobody else is going to do it, right? And I said a prayer, and I just said, okay, God, show me the truth of this situation, and thank you. Thank you for the blessing in this situation, because a response comes from within. You don't judge a situation. You wait for what the situation calls for. And it occurred to me, you know what? We've always worked as a team. Why would you assume he wouldn't work as a team here? Why? Now, granted, I can be a little OCD with my cleaning, so it might not be up to my standards, but that doesn't mean he's not going to support. That doesn't mean he's not going to be part of the team. And then I realized, oh my gosh, we can work together on this. We could actually have a discussion. We could actually support each other in this. And it was such a minor flip, but a major breakthrough where instead of feeling responsible, and seeing fear and presuming that I would have to be defensive or take on something or it's going to be my job, I all of a sudden felt, oh, wait a minute. I can presume goodwill. That this person has really, they've always shown me that they're supportive. Why would that be different here? And that only came when I stopped judging the situation, and then released the situation and asked to be shown a different truth. And that's the miracle. The miracle is that we don't do things as a responsibility, as an obligation, as something that, well, no one else is going to do it. We stop and pause because a response is what's called for, and a response comes from love. It will feel loving to you, and ultimately it will be loving to the relationship. So I hope you take that into your day, and I hope that you ask and pause for the response. Withhold your judgment. Before you step in and neglect your own needs in some way, shape, or form, stop and pause and ask yourself, is this choice coming from me standing in my power and allowing them to stand in their power and coming from love? Or am I just trying to please another person? Happy Miracle Monday. I hope you enjoy your day, and I hope you are gifted with a lot of loving responses today. Happy Miracle Monday. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.